Um, Really good players, really good coaches. um, yeah, I mean, you look at the history of what they've done, especially the recent history, and when Coach Bryant was there, and the crowd is great. Don't get me wrong, it's a great atmosphere. It's a great college atmosphere. The fans are into it and all that, but it's like anything. I mean, when you go in there and you're playing against high-level teams that are really smart and know how to play and very talented and well coached, more than the atmosphere at times, that becomes what makes a team tough to play against.
Coach, Ethan Happ is probably a guy that could win Player of the
Yeah,
Year
he's
and
awesome.
Defensive Player of the Year. What do you see out of him that makes him so difficult on both ends of the court?
Well, he's just so crafty, his savvy. He's got unbelievable anticipation. If you study him and just watch him, on the defensive end, his hands are always moving. He's always anticipating the next pass, the next play. He's got unbelievable hands. Anything, he gets a lot of deflections. He catches everything. And then offense, very similar. He takes his time. He's got impeccable footwork. He uses his body really well. It's incredible to think the numbers that he puts up, and yet he has never had a basket outside the paint. That just shows you how crafty and how good he is in the low post, and how difficult he is to stop. So I'm a huge fan of his. When I watch him play, there's always, man, you just rewind the tape sometimes and you marvel at, the basketball plays he makes. His basketball savvy is at a really high level.
Scotty's situation.
Scotty is still out. Unfortunately, he'll be out for the Wisconsin game. We're feeling good about his progress, and hopefully sooner rather than later, but he won't be able to play on Sunday.
And did Tap come out of the game the other night in one piece?
Yeah, Taphorn is, knock on wood, Taphorn's doing well. No repercussions from the ankle playing in the game, and he's good to go. He's feeling better each day.
That swagger you started seeing from the team in the summer, the confidence they've had all year, how do you keep that in place with a 2-game losing streak and with last year's memory?
Yeah, you just gotta keep playing. I mean, there's no panic in our locker room. I think there's urgency. When you lose, it's never, it's not fun. Losing is not a fun feeling, and we all, want to get back on that winning track, and we all, we're upset about not finishing the deal. I mean, all things considered on Tuesday night, missed shots, all the things. We have a 3-point lead with the ball with 3 minutes and change, and at home, and you gotta try to find a way to close it out. We didn't, and we watched it, and hopefully we learned from it, and we've had a couple days again, to be able to practice and go with the guys that we have right now and continue to get used to these rotations and this lineup, and hopefully we'll keep playing better. It's not easy, and the thing is, when you're in this league, nobody feels sorry for anybody. Nobody. I mean, it's a tough league. Every game. I mean, look at last night. The games were fantastic, and those are so-called teams in the bottom of the league against teams at the top, and they both come down to a last shot. So, and I can give you a million examples of that this year. I mean, that's just how it is. It's so even, and you got to show up and play, and you got to try to win the game in front of you, and that's what we're going to try to do on Sunday.
What have you been missing most, do you think, about not having Scotty out there? The defense, offense?
I mean, I think a little bit of everything. I think I mean, certainly 16 and a half points a game, from an offensive standpoint is something that you have to collectively try to make up for. But I think the main thing you miss is just the interruption of the rhythm we had as a team. We were playing very well. Everybody kind of knew their role. We had our 5 starters, we had our bench guys, everybody was comfortable. And when you lose a guy, it not only affects that guy because of being out, it affects your whole team, because now guys have to carry on roles that they haven't been playing. You got to do different things. Someone who hasn't been starting is now going to start. Someone who, had a certain role may now have to do a little bit more. So I think it just upsets the chemistry of your team a little bit, and it takes a little bit of time. I still feel good about what we have in the locker room. We're not making excuses. Are we a better team with Scotty Lindsey? Yes. But that being said, there's still a confidence in our locker room, and we have to figure out a way to try to win without him when he's not playing, and that's just the bottom line. Right? There's no other way to go about it.
Will he be in condition to play again once he is cleared to play? Or?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. I mean, we feel good that we're going to get him back. We just, we're just waiting. It's in the doctor's hands. It's really out of my hands about when they're going to clear him for activity and all those things. And he's feeling good, and he's getting better each day. And I know he's chomping at the bit to get back. He wants to be out there, and now it's just about getting him ready to play a game, like you said, condition wise and feeling good enough to be healthy enough to play in a Big Ten game.
You said the other night that he thought that Bryant was trying to do too much in Scotty's absence.
Yeah, I think.
Sit and talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Brian and I meet almost every day. I mean, he loves to come in and talk about the team, talk about where we're at, talk about how we can get better. So, I think he knows, though. I mean, again, when you lose that kind of scoring, the bottom line is we do need him to probably score a little bit more and make plays like he normally has, and then we need other guys to step up. And that's why you lose a perimeter guy, it actually puts more on his plate, and I'd like to put less on his plate. But the bottom line right now is it's just not. He knows he has to do a lot for us to win against really good teams, and now it's about not forcing too much action, trying to do it in the right way. And I think he had a couple turnovers late the other night that he'd like to get back. And sometimes a couple of those are just he got his legs caught up, and it was close. I'm not saying it was a foul, but you get your legs caught up with another guy and fall down. Sometimes you can't do anything about that. So
Isn't that sort of a fine line that he's walking
yeah,
between them?
yeah. I mean, it's look, when you lose a guy who's all league caliber, it's inherently, if you're one of those guys that knows you have to do it, you're going to try to do a lot. You're going to try to do a little bit more, and that it comes from a good place. And I think he and Vic and the thing about it is the defenses are putting even more attention on those two guys. Because you have one, less potent scorer to game plan for, and that's where we need. Like the other night, and I'm not saying it's those guys' fault. Like I have to do a better job. Like we got to get Sanjay, he's got to give us some points. And Gavin, I thought he did a better job. But Derek, those guys, little by little, Isaiah, Taphorn, collectively, we got to get production out of our supporting cast while Scotty's out.
Going back to Ethan, he's a guy that passes really well out of the post. I've noticed you guys have tried to double the post. How does Ethan make you adjust because he's such a good passer?
Yeah, well, I think you have to give him different looks. I think Wisconsin as a whole, they're so good if they get a rhythm. And you might try something early against them, and it might be working. But they're such a smart team, and they execute so well that they kind of figure out. So, I think you have to be smart, and, you have to maybe double him at times, maybe not double him at other times, try to confuse him a little bit, if that's even possible against a really smart player. But, yeah, I mean, when you're playing a team that's really good, and I say this all the time, you play a very potent team that's very good with outstanding players, you have to kind of decide what way you want to go, what you want to do, and then you have to be committed to it. We're going to be committed to doing this defensively and trying to, get them off their rhythm a little bit, and which means you might have to live with some stuff, with some certain areas that if you're going to really try to take something away, you're going to have to live with some other things. Like for Purdue, the other night when we played them, we made a conscious effort to have Swanigan and Haas see bodies around them, and then they hit a bunch of threes, and you're going to give that up a little bit if you do that, and then you got to live with the results. So I think that's what they put you in a tough spot in game planning for them, because they're really good, they're really smart. They have outstanding players that have seen different coverages. So we just have these next couple days to kind of get a game plan in place and do the best we can with trying to get them as uncomfortable as possible offensively.
Coach, the guys talk a lot about how they want to be different this year. You're dealing with some adversity now. What about this group makes you believe that they can deal with that adversity differently than maybe past teams?
Yeah, I just think there's still a belief in that locker room. I mean, we haven't lost confidence. We've lost a couple games, and we're mad about it. And I've sensed that since the game Tuesday night. And but there's a great resolve on this team. We have veteran guys that they're gonna keep fighting. They're gonna keep playing. And if we do lose a game, it's not going to be because of lack of confidence or lack of effort or not the right attitude. It's just going to be because another team outplays us. And that's what I love. I mean, very rarely this year, maybe one or two games max, did I feel like our effort and attention to detail wasn't where it needed to be. Games that we've lost, it's just we've been outplayed, or maybe had some crucial mistakes down the stretch, where we had the game we thought under control and made a couple critical errors that cost us. So I feel good about our leadership. I feel good about the guys. We've had some good meetings since our game Tuesday. We've had some good practices, and we're gonna go up to Madison and play the best that we can, and hopefully give ourselves a chance to win.
What were the themes of those meetings?
What's that?
What are the themes of those meetings?
Well, a lot of it was more technical. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't feel psychologically that we're in a bad place. I think we're disappointed, especially Tuesday night. You're at home, you're playing an interstate game, and I think all things considered, we maybe didn't play our best, and a lot of it had to do with Illinois and how well they played. But those things, we still looked at the tape, and we have the ball with 3 minutes and change with a 3-point lead, and I think we had 5 turnovers in the last 3 minutes, and you're just not going to win at this level, if you have 5 possessions in the last 3 minutes where you don't get a shot up. So I think it was more technical. It was more about managing a game, understanding what's going on with a game, and how we can get better at those things.
What are you guys seeing from Wisconsin that you feel like you specifically have to adjust for them?
Yeah, well, when you play them, they are never going to beat themselves. They're going to manage their possessions. They're going to play. You almost have to beat them playing their style because they make you play at their tempo. I think with them, they have 3 guys that are elite players in Koenig, Happ, and Hayes. And those 3 guys, everybody on their team knows that those are the 3 main guys. And their role players have done a great job of fitting around them and making open shots and playing good defense and being physical. And they play through those 3 guys. And it causes a lot of problems because all 3 of them are of a level where they require probably more than one-on-one coverage. And so you get yourself in tough spots, and they're such a smart team. They pass it so well. But I think more than anything, it's a little bit like I felt earlier in the year when we played Butler, similar Notre Dame. You're playing against veteran teams that are really smart, that are going to play well. And in order to beat them, you have to play well, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot with silly turnovers. You can't make a lot of mistakes because those type of teams, they make you pay when you make mistakes.